YouTube, what is up? It's your boy Jason from the Lock Talk. We're back for another NBA game day breakdown for March 10th. And let's get straight into it, man. And hey, if you were on my last video, we gave you guys some absolute gems. But not only that, if you got into premium, you cashed out again, man. We had another 3-0 day. I'll put it up somewhere right here. 3-0 sweep, man. Donovan Cling over rebounds, Klay Thompson over points, and then the Miami Heat first half, -5.5 or even -4.5, all blowout winners, man. So we have a small slate today in the NBA. Obviously, this week and probably this month, NCAA will be like a huge focus in the sports betting space, basketball space. That is March Madness. And after this, basketball is done. We are heading into almost the playoff time for NBA. And as soon as you know it, baseball will be swinging in. So guys, if you want to see more of these videos, more of these breakdowns, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm. It only helps me push this video out to more people so you guys can get more of these breakdowns and these gems. I hope you guys have been enjoying the content. Let's get straight into the games, man. There's a few teams on a back-to-back, and I'm going to break down the situations because this is that time of the year where, I don't know, I think now you might have to be more careful earlier on than you ever had been before. And what I mean by this is really, back maybe last year or a few years ago, you have to start paying attention to tanking teams, maybe 2 weeks before the playoffs started, things like that. Now, I don't know. Now it's a little bit scary because I think some of these teams are just tanking. They're playing very weird. But hey, look, I digress. We'll have to see and just keep up with some of these teams. There are some teams that care about these games more than others. And for sure, the Cavaliers, they definitely care about these games. I mean, they want to keep that #1 seed against the Celtics. They'll be playing the Brooklyn Nets, who just played last night and got a big win against the Lakers in Brooklyn. If you were on my video last night on the Lakers and Brooklyn game, I did say I thought Brooklyn had a chance to cover that spread, but they won it outright. You can see it right here, 111, 108. But look, this is an insane spread, bro. I don't care what anyone says. This is an insane spread. They basically are implying that the Cleveland Cavaliers have to win by 20 points, which for sure is 100% possible. I mean, I'm not doubting that at all. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. The Cavaliers come out there and absolutely blow out opposing teams. I mean, make games not even close. In more retrospect, I mean, I think it's possible. The big thing about this game is Cam Thomas looks like he's going to be playing today. And like I said in my last video, I don't know if that's a positive or a negative because I think he hogs the ball and makes the defense worse. So with that all being said, I'm actually kind of looking maybe at an over in this game. I think, the defense for the Brooklyn Nets has not been that incredible. They used to be maybe like a month ago or a few weeks ago, one of the top 3 defenses. Now they're bottom quartile. They do play at a decent pace, a little bit faster ever since Cam Thomas has been back. So, I think this is a game where the Brooklyn Nets can maybe, have some defensive flaws and maybe try to put offense. The only problem is the Cleveland Cavaliers are just excellent defensively. They're a top 3 in defense and obviously one of the best offensive teams in the NBA. In terms of their offense, they're top 10, depending on what metric you're looking at. So, almost everywhere Cleveland can beat them. But the problem is, the one thing that's not showing on the screen is that the Brooklyn Nets are actually a pretty good mid-range defense. And Cleveland, they're kind of even everywhere, but they do shoot a lot of threes. So, the other issue is if Cleveland has an off shooting night, shooting threes, I mean, maybe this game they win by like 12 points, but they don't win by 20. So it's not really a game I'm looking to go rush and bet. I mean, in terms of where the money's at, I mean, reasonably so, a lot of people will be taking Brooklyn on these points, even on the back-to-back. So it's tough, man. I mean, I'm not really looking at, backing Brooklyn in this type of environment, but this is a lot of points, bro. Probably a good spot for props, maybe. But other than that, I mean, you have to see if Cam Thomas is even playing for the Nets, because that would take a lot of usage away from guys like Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, Keon Johnson. Then on the Cleveland side, I mean, everyone looks to be healthy, so anyone can have their days. Tough game to bet, but if I was to force to bet, I might look at an over in some fashion because I do think the Nets can maybe, get some scoring off. They'll play at a probably faster pace with Cam Thomas playing, but, tough game to call, bro. I'll be honest. All right, guys, let's see. Let's talk about this next game on the board. We have 4 games today, so not a lot. The Washington Wizards against the Detroit Pistons. And look, another huge spread, bro. 14.5 points for the Pistons. And hey, if you looked at this game last year, Pistons would never be this big of a favorite, but they are actually one of the best teams in the NBA, in my opinion, ever since the break this year. I've been calling this out. I said the Pistons are a young, scrappy team, and I think Cade Cunningham is an elite player. He's a perfect leader for this team, and they're the number one defense as of the last 7 to 5 games. So now they'll be facing a Wizards team who I believe just played last night. So another team on a back-to-back. They played in Toronto. Now they're traveling to Detroit, which is not a huge travel spot, but still a travel spot. They didn't have every single guy playing last night. Like I believe Middleton didn't play. I don't think Brogdon played. So a few of their guys didn't play last night. Now they'll be playing tonight. In Detroit, they also been playing also at a very fast pace. So Detroit not only have they been playing a really good defense, but they've been playing at probably one of the fastest paces in the NBA, along with the Jazz and the Bulls. So Detroit can definitely get their way. I mean, in terms of defensive rating for the Wizards, they've actually been stepping it up as well. I mean, they're around top 10 right now, but they've been in some faster pace, higher scoring games, even against the Toronto Raptors. So, in terms of the game and kind of where they've been doing, I mean, Detroit's been a really good covering team. Wizards have been okay. I mean, when they've gotten big spreads like this, of course, anything can happen. But I honestly think Detroit, they can kind of pick their number with this game. I think they match up better everywhere. They have the better lineup. They're at home. I think they definitely can beat this team by a blowout for sure, especially given the spot. But hey, man, look, again, I always say this. You have to be careful with these big spreads because even a really crappy team, even with their bench, they can come out and keep it somewhat close. And if they win by 12 points, Detroit's not going to, keep playing super hard. They just need to win. Remember, they don't care about the spreads. They just want to win. I think Detroit for sure is the better team everywhere, offensively, defensively, pace, situation. Everything points to Detroit. But yeah, I mean, looks like public is on the Washington Wizards, but it makes sense, man. People don't like laying a lot of points. But I do think Detroit is decided to be on here. So give me Detroit minus 14.5. I mean, I think they could definitely win by, 15 plus. Definitely in the realm of possibility. But all right, let's talk about the next game. And this game looks to be more competitive, at least on the number wise. But we have the Milwaukee Bucks against the Indiana Pacers, a battle of the East. Both teams, very similar records. This is a very important game for both teams. So I do think this is a game, probably the best one to watch in terms of competitiveness, not just by the spread, but just of the situations they're both in. Milwaukee, 2.5 point favorites on the road. And man, the Pacers, they played last night. They got blown out by the Chicago Bulls. So a lot of their starters, even though they did play, didn't play the full game. So they sat in the fourth quarter. So that might be a positive for them. I mean, they probably realize, hey, we got a big game coming up with Milwaukee. Let's rest our guys. Guys like Neesmith didn't play. I mean, Halliburton, I don't think he played last night, but he's a game time decision tonight. So very interesting to see if he will officially play or not. I imagine if there's any game they want him to play, it'd be this game. On the Milwaukee side, Lillard and Giannis are game time decisions, but on another sheet, I do see, I'm pretty sure they're playing. So I'm going to assume all these guys are playing because this is almost like a must-win game for seeding purposes and to maintain their spot in the playoff picture. So, in this game, I do think, Milwaukee's been playing pretty excellently. They've been a really good team as of late. I mean, they have a top 10 defense, while the Pacers defense has kind of fallen off a little bit. Now they're around average in terms of offensive rating. Milwaukee's been a top 10 offense, while the Pacers, man, they have not been doing that great. I mean, they're middle tier as well. So again, Pacers on a back-to-back. It's not their best spot, but they are back at home. Milwaukee, they've been playing pretty excellently. They are missing still, obviously, Portis, who's on suspension, but I do think, Milwaukee matches up well against this team. I don't think the back-to-back factor will be as much of an impact since the Pacers did get blown out and didn't play extensive minutes with their starters. So, I mean, I do think there's a mismatch with Giannis. He has a good matchup against this Pacers team. And then even Halliburton on the other side, he has a good matchup against Lillard in terms of even assists and points. So those are areas you could look at for props. Obviously, they're going to be very juiced. High total, 234 over under. But man, like I said, both teams, I mean, Milwaukee's definitely been the better team as of late. Milwaukee's been playing with a lot of pace, very similar to the Pacers. So I can see a very fast-paced back and forth game. But obviously, see if Halliburton's playing or not. I mean, if he does not play, that's a big, big miss for the Pacers. And I definitely would love this Milwaukee line even more. But I'll go on the side with the Bucks. I do think it's, a pick'em type game. I think anyone can have a win. But for sure, the situation is a little bit in the favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. But I mean, Giannis is going to be the big factor. If he's able to get off his shots, get in position, I mean, I think Milwaukee can have their way. Even so, like on the defensive side, kind of where I guess you want to call it, like the Milwaukee Bucks have been doing very well. I mean, they've been allowing, again, a lot of threes. It's something I've been saying time and time again. And, the thing about the Pacers is that the Pacers, I mean, they don't really attack the three-pointer as much. I mean, they really do attack the rim at a frenetic pace. They're one of the best, transition the offenses, driving at the rim, and that plays right into the hands of the Bucks, and whether it's the mid-range or the rim. So I think the Bucks actually match up pretty good against them. In terms of the Bucks and what they do, I mean, they're kind of even, but they do shoot a lot of threes. Obviously, Giannis can attack the rim and the mid-range, but they do shoot a lot of threes. And the Pacers, I mean, they prevent a lot of three-point shots, and they're one of the worst in terms of rim frequency. So it plays right into the hands of guys like Giannis and Kuzma and a few of the other guys. But if Milwaukee doesn't get the three-point shots off, I mean, can they move their offense to attacking the rim? I think they can. I like Milwaukee in this spot, -2.5. That's where I'll go in this game. But obviously, pay attention to that injury report because, hey, Halliburton may sit, and that'll be a big miss for them. And all right, guys. So we got our last game on the board, man. So before I do talk about this last game, I definitely do want to let you guys know that we do have other ways for you guys to get into premium with us. If you want to get back on this 3-0 sweep, can we go for a three-peat? I've done it already in January of this year so far. So I hope to go do it again. So if you guys do want to join me in doing so, the best way to do so is get on one of our partner apps, get bonus money and deposit discounts. If you want to take a look, join us on NOVIG or even Prize Picks or even one of these other ones. For example, Vivid Picks. Use code LOCKTALK. I'll put it in the pinned comment down below. It's a DFS app that has better payouts than Prize Picks. Just take a look right here. 3 picks, 6x, 5 pick, 20x, 6 picks, 35x. So if you do want to join us, they have up to a $250 deposit match and a $25 protected play on your first deposit place. I'd say take a look. I'll put it in the pinned comment down below. It's one of the best DFS apps on the market right now, and they have much better payouts for when you have to do these 3 picks and more. So definitely get on Vivid Picks, and let's talk about this last game, man, all right? Let's get to it, man. So last game on the board, I think another game that could be competitive because, I mean, even though the Pelicans may be in potential tank mode because obviously their season's done, the Clippers have something to play for. They're in a very tough West Coast matchup, so I think they're going to have to play very, very tough. But looks like in terms of injuries, Olynyk is out for the Pelicans, and Alvarado may not play. He's a game-time decision. But for the most part, McCollum is in. Herbert Jones obviously still out. Murray's still out. And Brandon Ingram, I mean, he's out as well still. So, Pelicans, again, they're not playing for much. But they've been, keeping games competitive, right? Like, they've been making you concerned if you've been betting against them. I mean, if you bet on the Memphis Grizzlies against the Pelicans covered that game. But for the most part, at the end, they've been losing, getting blown out by multiple teams. Houston, LA, Utah, Phoenix. I mean, Clippers, they've been a much better home team than road team in terms of covering. Not been good at covering on the road as much as home. They've actually been the best home covering team in the NBA. And Pelicans, historically, their best spot has been at home. So, I mean, not a big thing, though. I think the best way maybe to play this game could be potentially props. And the one thing I will say is in this game, let me see. I'm trying to pull something up for you guys. The Clippers defense at one point was one of the best defenses in the league, like the Oklahoma City Thunder. But now, recently, they have not been that elite defense. They're pretty much league average, kind of similar to the Pacers. Pacers, when they were really killing it, their defense was number 1 or top 5. Same thing with the Clippers. Oh, hey, look, Clippers been competitive. They've been winning games. They beat Detroit, the Knicks, and the Kings. So this is a big game for them. This is an easy game that they need to win in order to stay in that playoff picture. So overall, I mean, the biggest weakness that the Clippers have had has been their offense. And they've been kind of stepping it up. They're middle of the pack right now. And I think that's not too bad because, I mean, the Pelicans have one of the worst defenses in the league in the last 7 to 5 games. I do think the Clippers are the much better team. Take a look at the spread. I mean, a lot of people are backing the Clippers in this spot. It makes a lot of sense. So I mean, it's tough for me, man. I mean, I don't really know. where I kind of want to go. I mean, I do think this is a lot of points, but I mean, I think Clippers are really a 6.5 point, 7 point favorite. I mean, there might be some slight value with the Pelicans, but I mean, given the defensive woes for the Pelicans, I'm not really sure I really want to back them here. The big thing, obviously, is the Pelicans like to attack the rim and attack points in the paint. And the Clippers, like I've said, I mean, their defense has not been the best, but I mean, they've still been a top 5 paint defense in the NBA. So I think, honestly, the Pelicans will have a tough time scoring tonight. I mean, Clippers, I mean, they're going to have their hands full with guys like Zion, McCollum, Trey Murphy, but I think the Clippers have the size and the physicality to match with guys like Kawhi Leonard and Zubac. I think James Harden does have a pretty decent matchup. Zubac has a decent matchup, but their lines are going to be pretty juiced. The other thing, too, in this game is the pace. I mean, Pelicans, they were playing at a very, very fast pace at one point, but now they're pretty much league average, and the Clippers play at the one of the slowest paces in the league. So usually slow paces, defensive type games support the dog, but in a game where the Pelicans defense is so bad, I mean, we could definitely see a spot where the Clippers can blow them out. So I would lean with the Clippers at the spread, even though the public's on them. But hey, man, tough to back the Pelicans in the spot, given the kind of factors I told you. But again, I mean, just be careful, bro. These games are tough. I tread lightly on the smallest slate with these big spreads because again, in the NBA, man, any team can cover these big spreads in terms of the dog. So just be careful. I think there are some good player prop spots I did mention in all these games. But again, guys, if you've been liking this content, hit that subscribe button, leave a thumbs up, and comment. Let me know who you guys are on. And I'll see you guys on that next one, baby. Good luck.